I'm always on the look for things I can use, and I think if I gather enough of this stuff, it's a little bit damp, but I think it'll light. But I can kind of fold this stuff up, get a couple of handfuls of it, pop it in my pocket, and I think this stuff will help me get a fire going. So I'm gonna gather a bunch of that. Good morning, my friends. Here in the woods again to test a budget wood gas stove I picked up on eBay for about $22. I'm pretty excited to see if pretty cheap stove can do the work it says it could. It's a wood gas stove, so it's a little bit different than the Varga stove I tested a few weeks back. So sit back, have a coffee, let me get the test area ready. We're gonna hurry today because it's calling for rain, and I don't mind the rain, but the camera does, so stay tuned. So here we are, a little budget wood gas stove. Comes with a really nice mesh bag here, and it does have a drawstring here to tighten it up. And it's really neat because it's all kind of self-contained within the body here. And there's 4 pieces, 2, 3, 4. So if I remember correctly, this is the tray that holds the wood. Goes in here, this goes on top of here, and that's it, it's ready to go. So let's try it out. Well, this version actually is stainless steel, before I forget. Weighs in at 14 ounces, so I don't know if it's for an ultra-light setup, but if you consider the fuel savings, if you're just burning little twigs that are found everywhere, if it truly does work, then I think it's well worth it. The Varga stove weighs in about 7 ounces, which is half of this, but doesn't have the same effect for the wood gas to burn. What that is, I guess wood gas 101 is, in here as the wood's burning, it kind of heats this chamber up here, and that causes air to be sucked in through these holes here, and what that does is it ends up taking the air through this chamber, mixes with the gas that's released by the wood as it's burning, and it shoots it out through here, and it kind of concentrates the flame upwards and gives you a little bit more of an efficient burn. At least that's what they say. So let's put it to the test and go from there. Luckily, it looks like there's little twigs everywhere, so hopefully that's going to get this stove going for us. Oh yeah, these are pretty dry too. Literally within 20 seconds, just found these little twigs, so I'm going to gather up as much of them as I can and start our test. Okay, well, I've gathered a bunch of material here, starting with pencil-sized sticks, then going a little bit bigger and bigger. And these actually I cut for, I think, the Varga stove review a few weeks ago, and they were left over, so I kind of just left them over there. They are a bit damp, so I don't know how that's going to happen. But also this grass here, I picked this up on the way in. It's pretty damp, so I don't know how this is going to go. But I guess it's a good test, right? Because you're never going to be in ideal conditions. So, whoa. Wow, there's a deer. I didn't show the, oh, he's gone. Wow, I haven't seen a deer here in a while. They recently allowed hunts in here, and just some controlled hunts. And since then, I've not seen many deer. Seen tracks, but kind of thinking about going. There we go. Hopefully this is wood is dry enough, I hope. It's, like I said, perfect conditions because it's rained here for the last several days. It's really damp and humid right now. Probably one of the worst conditions to make a fire, but we'll see if we can get one going. Of course. Well, you got to make sure you have a lot of material ready, because when it does burn, it burns quickly and there's not a lot of material in there. But then again, I don't want to smother it either, so see if this will take. I'm not sure if you could see right around here. It seems like the effect is starting up. You can see there's little flames shooting out of these little holes, and it's kind of compressing that flame or kind of directing it straight up, giving it a little bit more efficiency. At least that's the idea. We're going to test it out here, but so far so good. I've gotten onto the thicker pieces of wood. Now definitely make sure you have a lot of tinder ready, because this thing was fast and furious while it was starting. Now that I'm to the bigger pieces, a little bit better, so we'll see. Again, I don't know if you could see this, but there's a bunch of smoke going on right in there, but I can actually see it being sucked back down into the stove, and I'm guessing those are some of the gases and things that are getting reburned, because there's very little smoke coming out the top there. It's a little bit sure, but so far it looks like it's doing what they say. So let's keep feeding it here. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes, and I think the stove's going pretty good. So I'm going to get that water on there, and you can see here, it has an opening here, so you can keep feeding it twigs and fuel, which is good without taking the pot off. So that's a pretty good feature. I've seen some other design, and it looks like the same stove, but this is more of a cone shape, and it does not allow you to do that. And I don't know if that's any better or any worse, but so far I think this is a pretty good design. Now I noticed that flames here shooting up the sides, so I think this is going to be better suited to a wider pot. If you have something more narrow, I don't know, it's still going to work obviously, but it may not be as good. In fact, I think a pot wider than this would be even more efficient, because those flames are really going to catch that pan and heat it up real quick. But I think this is going to work just fine. Water's only been in there not even a minute, and it looks like it's bubbling, starting to bubble anyway. We're getting some steam, so we'll see. About 2 minutes in, and you see I had the water actually pretty close to boiling, but what happened was I wasn't paying attention, and the fire kind of went out, so I had to stock it again, and now it's starting up again. So I guess that's one disadvantage over like an alcohol type stove or butane canister stove, whatever, is you're gonna have to kind of baby this thing, make sure you know, it's always got fuel. So not a big deal. There are a lot of hot coals on the bottom, and I just put in 5 or 6 of these twigs and started going again. So okay, about 7 minutes, and we've got a rolling boil. So, and that 7 minutes included, there was about a 2-minute downtime because I let the stove go out while I was doing other things. Just, I don't have experience with it, but look at that, it's still going strong. Could boil a lot more water on here. So far, test is positive. Alright, I let it burn down for about 5 minutes, and there's no more flame left, but I'm not sure if the camera picks it up. There's a whole bunch of hot coals down there in the bottom. There's plenty of heat here as well. Good for just heating something up, or you can maybe fashion some kind of grill on top of here. You might be able to, you know, cook something. I'm sure I can get this going again, but I want to see how cleanly it burns. Alright, here's a little size comparison between the wood gas stove and the Vargo. And one thing I wanted to point out is these are fixed points up here. So if you have a smaller cup, this one is about 3 3/4 inches in diameter, and it doesn't fit. So you're going to need another way to boil water. So that's one thing definitely to keep in mind. And you know what, still maybe a little better, but still a problem on the Vargo stove, so keep that in mind. The Vargo stove does have these though, where you can put some metal inserts, and might help stabilize that, I don't know. Yeah, and even if you have I guess a steel canteen or steel, you know, aluminum bottle, whatever, you might have some trouble there. And yeah, these are, you know, 2.5 inches apart. So stove measures, while we've got it here, about 7 inches high, approximately 4.5 wide. Looks like we're at the bottom of our wood burning now, and there's really just a few little coals left, but there's still quite a bit of heat here. I mean, you could definitely cook a hot dog or something on that. And this is about 20 minutes after. I just kind of let it burn down, maybe 25 minutes, but you know, ballpark, it holds heat quite a bit and works rather well. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up a bit here. So I've folded this all up, and now of course it will fit in this case here nicely. Now I always trying to think ahead again. If I could nest it, perhaps by putting it inside here. Trying to see what I can fit. Yeah, that'll work. So now, if this will fit, not sure that it will. Oh yeah. Now I have a fully contained cookette.
Let's summarize our testing of the budget wood gas stove. The stove weighs in at 14 ounces, and while not as light or as compact as the Vargo stove, it gives you the added benefit of the double-walled secondary burn. In our test, this would boil a cup of water in less than 5 minutes. With challenging conditions, I was able to light the stove with minimal fuss, but make sure you have enough tinder prepared, as it takes several minutes to prime the stove. As with all wood stoves, you need to constantly check on the amount of fuel being burned. The stove has plenty of configuration options and can be used with both an alcohol and gel stove. Solid fuel cubes would work as well. The fact that the stove nests within a pot makes its form factor even more desirable. The stove worked as advertised, and we would highly recommend it.
Well, thanks again for joining us on this version of the Outdoor Archives as we were testing the budget wood gas stove. Hope you enjoyed the review, and as always, we would appreciate it if you could like, comment, share, and subscribe our videos. It would really help us out. We hope to see you in the next video.